This is chapter 1 of 6 of Miracle of the Stomach Ants. I will aim to have a new chapter out on both YouTube and Bandcamp every Friday until all 6 chapters are out. I recently discovered that you can put PDFs in a Bandcamp download, so if you want to read rather than listen to my story, just click on the Bandcamp link in the description, click on Free Download, and the PDF will be there in the compressed folder. I'm also going to do this with all my previously recorded stories and with all my new stories moving forwards. I'm not going to enable payment on Miracle of the Stomach Ants until the entire novella is uploaded onto Bandcamp, but at that point it'll be name your own price, so free downloads will continue to be available for all of my work. I don't really know what the difference is between EPUB and PDF, except that EPUB is more of a pain in the ass to format, so I'm going to continue to just upload PDFs for now, but if there are people out there who express significant interest in me looking into EPUB, I might brave those waters. So without any further ado, here is Chapter 1. The summer of 2021 has been a particularly bad summer. Doc works at a fairly large grocery store. He does carts, bottles, and cans. The customers usually ignore him, so the only problem, other than that it sucks and he hates it, is that it doesn't exactly pay the bills. He only has one roommate, and would like, if possible, to keep it that way. Fortunately, went to high school with a guy who went to college with a guy who makes very good acid and sells it pretty cheap. Apparently, the ingredients are pretty cheap and easy to find if you know what you're doing. He's not a real drug dealer, nor does he have any ambition of being one. He just has one reliable connection. It's not nothing having good acid in a town like Torrington. Like good acid. People do a lot of drugs because it's a poor little town and there's nothing to do, but they don't have access to good drugs because they live in Torrington. So if you can consistently get good shit, and people know you can consistently get good shit, that's not nothing. Even after gas money, it pays most of his rent in the summer, or at least it did before COVID. Even without the festivals, it's worth it to drive down to Pennsylvania to see the chemist, albeit less often. Doc always meets this friend of a friend in a cabin which he says belongs to his uncle or something. It's unclear whether he lives there or just makes acid there. To get to the cabin, drives 6 hours, and for probably about the last 2 hours or so, all he sees is woods and fields. It's a long-ass drive to make to be hopefully drowning in slightly less debt than he otherwise would be. He's short for by the way. Parents didn't really think that one through. Anyways, he gets there, and they hang out a bit, smoke a bowl, and drink some surprisingly good coffee from some kind of silicone French press the chemistry major got from Amazon. And he says, "So I don't know if I should be telling you this, but I might know a guy..." Never mind. You might know a guy. No. I mean, yeah. I think he's in a cult or something. I ain't gonna fuck with him anymore. And neither should you. Forget I said anything. The fuck are you talking about? Well, okay, I met this guy when I was at UConn. Like, right when I was starting to sell to my friends. And this guy came along, like, buying books at a time. Like, just a shitload of acid. And to be honest, I'd probably dropped out a lot earlier if he hadn't come along. Like, this dude was just buying more than everyone else. I didn't know what he was using it for. I just figured he was selling it himself, you know? I don't know. He was always kind of weird, but like, you know, I know a lot of weird people. I figured he was probably fine. I mean, I heard rumors about him, but what kind of rumors? I mean, just like weird shit. Like that he was stealing people's cats, or he was into some alt-right, like, I guess he had a lot of guns and shit. I don't know. It's not like he was my friend or anything, you know. I was just taking the dude's money. Just because the dude had a lot of money, you know. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, you know how it is. Anyways, he comes by. And, like, I heard about this from other people, too. Apparently they were damn near always with him, you know. Wait, who was? He's like...
these girls. There were 2 of them that I met. I heard some people say there were more, but every time I saw them, they looked like they were always tripping. Never said their names, they were just brides of Christ, servants of angels, that type of shit. That's what everyone I knew said too. Always with him, always all over him, always just fucking blitzed out of their goddamn minds. I mean, couldn't have been more than 16, I mean, I'm a pretty libertarian guy or whatever, but this guy it's only some 21-year-old dude hitting on high schoolers, that's creepy, but whatever. This dude was mid-30s. That's fucked up. Yeah, and he was using my fucking acid to fucking melt these poor girls' brains and just clearly fucking them. Just feeding them some cult shit and feeding them shitloads of acid and fucking them, I mean, I'm pretty laissez-faire. You kind of gotta be. Yeah. But, dude, it was my acid. I was cooking the shit, and he was using it to brainwash these fucking high school girls to fuck him, Yeah, I get you. It's fucked up. Yeah, I mean, you didn't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, hey, not to change the subject, but the chemist changes the subject. When the weed wears off and the coffee kicks in, they go to the porch to have a smoke together before Doc leaves. He says, "So why would I want to meet him?" "Who?" "The fucking cult guy." "I don't know, why would you want to meet him?" "You said before." "I did?" "Yeah, you said you might have a guy and then you stopped." "Oh, yeah, it's, no, fuck that guy. Don't fuck with him. It's not worth it." "You think I'd want to, ride the Lolita Express or some shit?" "The fuck, dude? It's just that's what you made it sound like." "What? How?" "You started telling me about this guy, he was someone I might want to meet, and then you started telling me about these fucking brainwashed teenage girls he's fucking, and..." "Oh, no, it ain't anything like that. That was why you shouldn't fuck with him." "But why would I want to fuck with him?" "You wouldn't. Don't. But, forget about it. I ain't trying to fuck with him or anything. Honestly, I'm more curious about it than anything else at this point." "Forget about it." Some fucking libertarian you are. God damn it, fine. He's trying to move some thing. I don't even know what it is. It's something he stole from a museum or something for his cult. Don't get involved. It's fucking bullshit. He's a fucking asshole, okay? "How much is he paying?" "I ain't gonna tell you." "So it's a lot." God damn it. "You said he's got a shitload of money, right?" "Yeah, but..." "And you wouldn't tell me how much he's offering to move this statue or whatever?" "I don't think it's a statue." "You said yourself, he might be some kind of pervert or whatever, but he paid off your student loans, didn't he?" "Yeah, but..." "So I got bills to pay too." "Yeah, but I think this guy's dangerous." "Then I'll be careful." "No, I'm serious. Look, I don't give a fuck about my own safety. Why should you?" "You don't know this guy, though." "How you gonna make money off the guy, then tell me I can't?" "I didn't know." "Look, you got a real-ass, grown-up-ass job where you could work from home during COVID and still pay your rent. Me, I gotta work retail. I rely on this shit for my income. Every day now I'm worried they're gonna lift the rent moratorium before they start having festivals again, and it's really starting to look like that's exactly what's gonna happen." "Dude, if you're hurting..." "That's not my point." "What is your point?" "I'm just saying it should be my choice whether or not I want to take someone's money or not." "Alright, fuck it. Fine. What's your choice? You want to get murdered by some cultists for $5,000, or do you want to act like a rational adult and leave this goddamn pedo sex cult alone?" Drives up to the Super 8 in Harrisburg. He could probably stay at the cabin if he asked, but he doesn't want to ask. Couldn't really say why. Now, there's something about being in a strange bed, far from home, with an unambiguously felonious amount of liquid acid in your car that sometimes makes it difficult to sleep. So this is his method. He stops at Wegmans, gets a couple slices of pizza or some lo mein and a 6-pack or a 4-pack or a couple of tall boys. Something nice. The kind of beers that have the letters IBU on the side next to a number as though anyone anywhere knows or cares what the hell that means. Hotels don't have cable anymore, which is kind of bullshit, but I guess not surprising. So anyways, he used to watch Adult Swim, but now he brings his laptop and he streams Aqua Teen or Metalocalypse or something, which is not the same, but it's also kind of better. And he drinks his beers, and if he's not drowsy by the time he finishes his beers, he opens an incognito tab, jerks off, wipes himself off on the sheets, and puts on How It's Made until he dozes off. All of this is comforting and nostalgic, and cures his insomnia about 95% of the time. Tonight's one of that last 5%. He checks the phone the chemist gave him for the billionth fucking time. It's one of those QWERTY phones that slides open. He didn't know they still made those. He had one just like it in high school. He makes sure the volume on the ringer's all the way up and he has no missed calls, and he puts it back in his pocket and heads down to the parking lot because they didn't have any smoking rooms, because nobody has any smoking rooms anymore and it's bullshit. Now he's smoking in the parking lot and it's pretty dark and there's really nothing to do, so he rolls another cigarette and he checks the phone again. And he says to the empty air around him what he's already been saying to the inside of his room. He says, you gotta. I don't like it, but I don't like my landlord either. And I fucking give him money. That's how shit works. I'm sure whoever owns Peach Shops is into some fucked up shit, you know. We're all working for scumbags. Fucking second consecutive pedophile president. And my fucking fault scumbags got all the money. I just gotta get mine, you know? But who is that guy, and how long has he been standing there? It's hard to tell in this light if he's watching or if he's just sleeping against the wall or staring off into space. To the parking lot he says, "If I smoke any more of these, I'm gonna make myself sick." And he goes back to bed and he checks the phone again, and he lays there in the dark, drunk and stinking and trying to sleep until 6 a.m. invades his window. He has 4 coffees with his complimentary continental breakfast, and none of them help at all. When he goes to get gas, he gets 2 Monsters because they're on sale and a large black coffee because he knows he'll drink the Monsters too fast. The guy says, "Got a long drive?" And says, "Yep." "Where you headed?" "Connecticut." "Quite a hike?" "Yep." $6.95. Inserts his card. "What's up in Connecticut?" "I live there." "Oh, really?" "Yep." Pulls out his card and puts it back in his wallet. "What brings you to Harrisburg?" "Cousin's wedding." Starts to walk away. "Oh, nice. Well, have a good one." "Yep." Later in the car, to nobody at all, says, "That entire conversation was completely pointless." Torrington's kind of a shithole, but it's our shithole. Got a place in the South End. Nicer than some, not as nice as others. It's the first floor. He's got a gas stove, and the landlord takes cash. He's only got one roommate, and both of them have their own bedrooms. Actual bedrooms with actual doors, which is not nothing these days. He gets home a little after noon. He packs a bowl and lies down and falls asleep before he gets around to smoking it. He wakes up to a text at 1:15. On his phone, not the QWERTY phone. Danny wants to know if he's back yet, and he tells her that he is. Danny asks him if he wants to hang out, and he tells her that he does. He and Danny have been on and off since high school chamber choir. This most recent time they broke up, it was mutual. They agreed they would stay friends and that they wouldn't fuck anymore. They went back on that about a week later. The not fucking thing. Each one of them insisted that the other had started it, but neither of them really regrets that they're fucking again. Thinks the relationship works best when neither of them really thinks about it. Probably she'll eventually find herself a boyfriend, and he'll have to get back on Tinder, or they'll decide they're dating again or something. These things happen in cycles. Danny had to move back in with her parents during the shutdown. She lost her job slightly after everyone else did, so the waiting period for unemployment was at least 6 months. And she already had a shitload of debt by then, so rather than seeing how much more debt she can accumulate before the rent moratorium stops and her landlord kicks her out anyways, she decided to move back in with her parents. By the time she was able to get another job, the cheapest apartments in Torrington were going for basically all of her income. So she's looking for a roommate now, but nobody wants to move right now because rent is ridiculous. It's going to be in the same boat if this shit doesn't work out with whoever these people his chemist friend knows are. He rolls himself a cigarette from the pound on the coffee table, then sits on the porch and smokes it. It's too hot for coffee. Her car pulls up and she gets out saying, "It's too fucking hot." She is wearing a tank top and short shorts. Her body is curvy and wide. She has a paunch and never believes him when he tells her he thinks it's just the cutest fucking thing. She waits till they get inside before she asks him if he has any acid. He tells her, "Still just liquid right now, you want?" "You gonna?" "Probably not right now." "You sure? On me?" "Nah, I appreciate it, but I'm just not up for it right now. You want some though?" "Nah." "You sure? On me?" "Nah, you don't gotta do that. I just don't feel like tripping alone right now." "Fair enough." He packs a bong and they smoke it sitting on his bed, and he says, "So I think I got a job with some kind of sex cult." And she laughs and she coughs and she says, "What?" So he tells her about it, and slowly a look of bewildered concern blossoms across her face. She says, are you gonna do it?" "It's that or move back in with my parents whenever this fucking rent moratorium is up." She says, "Fair enough." She says, "Just please be careful." And he says, I will. She packs the next bong. Now he is laying with his head on her big soft breast and his hand up her shirt on her chubby little belly, and she is telling him about the weird sound her car is making, and her dad thinks it's the transmission, but her dad always thinks it's the transmission, and she's gonna have to take it to the shop because she doesn't know shit about cars and her dad doesn't know shit about cars, and she says, "And I just changed the oil, you've seen me, I drive like a fucking old lady." "You do." "And the fucking... I hate cars. Cars are bullshit. I don't even like driving." He says, "Driving sucks." And then he says, "Actually, I like driving." And he says, "Most of the time." Later on, they have sex. It's lazy and sloppy and fun. It's heavenly. He falls asleep and she gets up. He says, And she says something, but he falls asleep before he hears her. He dreams that he's driving and he's trying to switch lanes, but this fucking truck won't let him in, and Danny is there, or she's on the phone or something, and she's asking in increasingly panicked tones about chlamydia or something. It's distracting, and he's just trying to merge with this fucking truck, and she says, "What fucking bag?" Then he wakes up in darkness and for a long time has no idea where he is. On the QWERTY phone there's a missed call from a hidden number and a voicemail saying, "I have been told you are willing to carry an angel. Next time I call you will be the last." He sighs and checks the time. It's 2:30. He says, "Fucking stupid," and drags his half-naked body into the balmy night air. Now he's sitting on his front step shirtless, rolling a cigarette while staring out at the empty street. He should have made some coffee before coming out here. He'll have a cigarette and then some coffee. That's more or less the same. No, it's not. Fuck it. He lights a cigarette. He checks the phone. He's holding it in his hand, sleepily worried that if he puts it in his pocket, he somehow won't hear it ring. He should have heard it ring before. He's usually a light sleeper. It was a long drive, and he didn't sleep good last night. He was stoned and had had sex. Still, though, it's weird that he didn't hear it ring. After he finishes his cigarette, he goes inside and makes some coffee. He checks the phone again. He must have slept deeper than he usually does, that's all. He opens up the settings and spends about 20 minutes picking the shrillest ringtone it has. It's too hot in his kitchen for hot coffee. He takes it outside. Well, Fuckboy was definitely not lying about the guy being an asshole. He rolls himself a cigarette, saying to the empty street, "I've had to deal with a few narcissists," and lights it, saying, "Just because this one wants to tell teenagers he's Jesus or whatever." "Who's that?" "Oh, shit." A skinny old man says, "Oh, hey man, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you." "No, yeah, I didn't see you there." For 30 seconds or so, neither man says anything. The skinny old man has a long beard and a well-worn bald eagle t-shirt and a well-worn face and bad teeth, and he sways slightly as he stares down at who is trying to ignore him. Finally he says, "Hey, is that a joint?" "Nope, just a cigarette." "Could I bum one of them off you?" "Can you roll?" "Nope." And he just stands there. Eventually gives him his half-smoked cigarette so he'll go away, and the old man says, "Hey, thanks man, you're a good dude, you know that?" And kind of wanders off. Everything is warm and moist and feels like it has been forever. His skin is on the brink of sweating. He watches a colony of ants a few feet away, pulling apart a dead grasshopper glistening in the streetlight. He says, "I shouldn't have given him that cigarette." He's jacking off when the phone rings a week later. He says, "God damn it." And then to the phone he says, "Hello? Have you agreed to carry an angel?" "If that's what you want to call it, I can drive your, He didn't say what it was you needed." "Very good. The address is 649 North Salina Street, Syracuse, New York." Repeat that. 649 North Salina Street, Syracuse, New York. Be there at noon tomorrow. Wear all white. Yeah, okay. 649 North Salina, Syracuse, noon tomorrow. It takes him a couple seconds to realize the guy has hung up. Yeah, no, this guy really is an asshole. As it turns out, 649 North Salina Street, Syracuse, New York, is a Dunkin'. Syracuse is about 4 hours away from Torrington. He'd better give himself an extra half hour or so, because this Jim Jones fucker is exactly the type of little bitch to absolutely shit his pants if he takes a little too long to find parking. So after hitting the snooze about 8 times, he drags his ass out of bed at 7:20, takes a shit, eats 2 Hot Pockets, and gets on the road with a travel mug full of day-old coffee at 7:35. His pants still smell like bleach. Yeah, he had to bleach his fucking jeans.
You have any idea how hard it is to find white pants on short notice when you live in a small town? Are you gonna pay for same-day shipping because fucking David Koresh wants to act like this is some kind of hacky spy movie? No, fuck that guy and fuck Jeff Bezos. Only now he's sitting in Bleach, heading for I-90, first thing in the morning. So there's that. '90 is the highway's highway. It's the epitome of a highway. Flat, wide, straight. There's some trees and shit, and then you go through a city, and then there's more trees and shit. The thing about upstate New York, and this really goes for the whole Northeast, is all the cities are ugly as shit. Of course, like all highways, it is endowed by whatever natural beauty they haven't gotten around to bulldozing yet, and likes a good birch as much as anyone, but when you're going 65 miles an hour, all the plants just look like weeds. It does go 65 miles an hour the whole way. He sets cruise control as soon as he merges, he stays in the right lane, he slows down to 55 when he goes through construction zones, even if they're empty, which most of them are. The second best way to talk to cops is to look them directly in the eyes and lie outright with a boring lie you've already decided on. The best way to talk to cops is not to talk to cops. This means never being pulled over, which means driving the speed limit. Resign yourself, that's the key. I-90 is boring and ugly, and it takes a very long time. That's life. Downtown Syracuse is a lot like downtown Torrington, only bigger and less white. Dingy brick buildings display hastily cobbled storefronts to crumbling, uninterested sidewalks. Weather-beaten kids of indeterminate age in baggy tank tops at the bus stop in front of what he assumes to be a methadone clinic or something like that, smoking and gossiping and waiting to go home. When he reaches the Dunkin', checks the time. It's 11:40, so he rolls himself a smoke. This is good. Today was off to a shit start, but now he can smoke his cigarette and get a coffee before the guy arrives. And if this guy is like most drug dealers, he can probably finish it before, "Are you the carrier?" A kid in a shirt and tie, in his late teens or early 20s, with bloodshot green eyes that seem to focus on you separately like the eyes of a chameleon. Slightly overweight, sweating, wearing a long sleeve button-up in spite of the weather. "Yeah, let me just smoke this down real quick." "I wouldn't light that just yet if I were you. We have to get on the bus." "I got my car, we can just..." "No, I'm afraid we have to take the bus." "You serious, dude?" "I am always serious." "Fuck, okay." As they walk back to the bus stop, lights his cigarette because fuck this junior Republican sex cult fuckboy. Only he gets to take a couple of puffs before they have to run because the bus is already at the bus stop where, if you'll recall, everyone was smoking this whole last time. So now he's on the bus with just enough nicotine in his system to make the nick fits way worse, and all he can smell is this partially smoked cigarette tucked behind his ear. And he probably should have just smoked his cigarette while walking over to the Dunkin', but that's not the point. They get off the bus at the hub and directly onto another bus, and they ride that one to a Wegmans in some place called Cicero. They get off the bus there, and Jack says, with a bit more hostility than he intends, "Okay, can I smoke my fucking cigarette now?" And Reagan Youth says, "Yeah, obviously." As the caustic relief washes over his frayed nerves, Jack says, "I'm..." And People's Temple Youth Brigade says nothing. Cops can't do much with just a first name, you know. Not that I would tell them, but I'm just saying. They come to a light blue Honda Civic. Look, if you're worried about it, you can tell me a fake name. I'm not going to know the fucking difference. Names are not ideal. But what am I supposed to call you? Don't. Standing by the door, finishing his cigarette, says, "Look, I get that this is your first time doing something like this, but it's not mine. You are wrong on both counts, but you can smoke in the car if you want." Buckling his seatbelt, says, "How about I just call you..." "No. Are you fucking serious?" "I'm always serious." The inside of the car has the impersonal cleanliness of a rental. Boy Mormon sits behind the wheel and doesn't start the car. He says, "Before we go any further, it is important that you understand something. You are participating in a ritual." "No, please, let me finish." "Given your worldview, you most likely see yourself as a smuggler, or whatever you want to call yourself. Sure, but it's not necessary for you to believe, to share our worldview. The other participants in this ritual understand that you do not think of it as a ritual, which is fine. Your lack of belief does not make the ritual any less powerful. Do you understand?
Look, dude, if you need me to take a bunch of acid and realize your guy is Jesus or something...
Oh, no. Given your worldview, you will not be asked to do anything that is likely to be outside of your comfort zone. So what exactly will I be asked to do?
The unnamed cultist starts the car and says,
You'll need to bathe in salt water and put on a ceremonial outfit. After that, a sterile needle will be used to collect a drop of blood from your finger.
I don't like that.
They take a left out of the Wegmans parking lot. If you've ever donated blood before, it's the same needle they used to do the HIV test beforehand.
Why do you want my blood?
The road is busy. The going is slow. Ceremonial reasons.
What are you going to do with my blood?
It will be added to a mixture of beer and honey, and after taking a vow, you will be asked to take a sip, and then it will be passed around the room.
I don't like that.
You will then be given an angel. The angel will be in a bag which you must not open. You will be asked to drive it to the third tier of the Hartford Hospital parking garage and await our phone call.
Why do you... I don't like this.
Do you feel you are not being fairly compensated for what is being asked of you? Why do you want to drink my blood? If you feel that you are not being fairly compensated, I have been instructed to take you back to your car and apologize for wasting your time. You will return the phone your friend has given you, and you will never hear from us again.
Neither of them says anything until the nameless kid says,
So do you feel you are being fairly compensated?
They merge onto 81 South and Doc says, So, where exactly are we going?
We're going to St. Joseph's Hospital.
What, the big-ass hospital that was like 6 blocks from where I parked my car?
You're wondering why we had to take the bus to Cicero if we were going to just drive back downtown?
Obviously.
It is required that you have the opportunity to ask me questions. Your consent, for lack of a better word, is important that you perform the ritual of your own volition.
I guess I could appreciate that.
Don't. The car sways ever so slightly back and forth within its lane, as though it's trying to rock them to sleep.
Says, so why couldn't we have just, I don't know, sat in a room or some shit?
They prefer movement. Who the fuck are they? Do you believe that angels are the sentient fingers of God?
Thinks about it. Not really.
Well, the people who are paying you do.
They park at the bottom level of the parking garage and walk up 6 flights of stairs. What, do they not like elevators?
I'm afraid not.
They walk through a bridge over the street. They walk through antiseptic hallways with ugly color schemes and with the occasional rustle and moan of the diseased and the starched crinkle of their sheets. They walk through hallways with cinder block walls, thickly painted beige with interminable pipes running across the ceiling. They climb more stairs. They walk through another hallway lined with doors into sickness. Somewhere a woman starts screaming and somebody shuts her door. They come to a cove with a vending machine, some chairs, and HGTV. The unnamed guide says,
Do you want anything?
What?
From the vending machine. On me.
I mean, if you're offering, Skittles, please. Thanks.
Sure.
The boy buys Skittles for Dick and Snickers for himself and texts someone as he sits down. For a while they sit there together,
eating candy and watching the trials and tribulations of some guy with a long but well-groomed beard and his pointy eyebrowed wife who is looking at some big-ass plank of oak to use as a countertop or a poolside bar or some shit. There is some dramatic music, though it's unclear what exactly the conflict is. And then there's an advertisement for medicine that either helps regulate your bowels or makes your family love you more. Doesn't pay close enough attention to be sure. It's during a commercial for smiling to increase your sex appeal that they come for him. Two tired-looking middle-aged women, both dressed in maroon scrubs with long-sleeved t-shirts underneath. They walk single file with him between them, like a prisoner, to a beige room with an old man, an examination table, and a curtained-off section. The old man is wearing the same scrubs and undershirt, but with some kind of pattern or writing or something, done in some dark, crusty substance. I can't quite make it out because he's holding a clipboard in front of it saying, "The bath is behind that curtain over there. Please immerse your entire body for at least 3 seconds and do not leave the bath until I instruct you to do so. Do you understand and agree?" Sure. The old man checks his watch, writes something on the clipboard, and says, "Thanks, you may go now." And goes. The tub is stainless steel. There is a cabinet with a countertop on which a maroon hospital gown is neatly folded with hospital socks on top. There is finger-painted writing on the front of the gown in an alphabet he doesn't recognize in a substance he is going to hope and assume is not blood. Of course they didn't give him a towel. The three on the other side of the curtain say nothing. The clink of his belt buckle hitting the floor is deafening. His naked feet on the hospital floor, his skin naked to the disinfected air. He puts his clothes on the counter. He cups his hands over his genitals, although he doesn't believe anyone is watching him. The water is fucking cold. The tub is so cold it hurts to touch. His skin ripples into goose flesh. His muscles tense immediately and start to shiver. His dick and balls retract into comical little nubs. He takes a deep breath, lets it go, takes another one and sticks his head in the water. The water fills his ears. It stings his eyes, although they're tightly shut. The cold hurts his head. It's strangely peaceful. He counts to 3. As he lifts his head from the tub, he hears faintly, behind the curtain, the sharp intake hiss of sudden but expected pain. There is no sound in the room louder than shivering breath for several long minutes. Then the old man says, "We are ready for you now," and climbs out of the tub and wrestles the starched gown over his cold, dripping skin, bending his arms backwards to snap the snaps, and unable to get the one between his shoulder blades. He comes out from behind the curtain holding his clothes and shivering spasmodically. He is grinding his teeth. One of the women takes his clothes and walks behind the counter with them. He hears the crinkling of something being put into a paper bag, the crack and hiss of a beer can, pouring into a cup, pouring into a tub, and the stirring of a spoon. She comes out from behind the curtain holding a paper bag and a Dixie cup.
She places the paper bag on the floor, hands the Dixie cup to the other woman, and then takes her place on the other side of the old man,
who says, "Please lay down." The stiff and sterile white and blue sheets are immediately moist at his touch. The woman now holding the Dixie cup walks over to the side of his bed and grabs his hand. She says, "Hold still," and pricks his middle finger, dunking it into the beer and holding it there for several seconds as the old man consults his clipboard and says, "Do you acknowledge the natural God as the rightful master of your body and of your mind?" Fuck does that mean? The old man says nothing until says, Sure. The old man makes a tick mark on his clipboard and continues. "Do you freely and willingly offer the use of your stomach to the angel who is the conduit of the natural God?" My stomach? The old man says nothing. What's in that drink? There's a knock at the door. You've been told. The woman not holding the Dixie cup opens the door just wide enough to pass the paper bag through. I don't fucking like this shit. We've been told. Why my stomach? Please answer the question. Do I have to? Of course you have to. Okay, fine. Do you freely and willingly offer the use of your stomach to the angel, which is the conduit of the natural God? Yes. Do you hereby solemnly vow as a man, and to the natural God and all of the seraphim, to take this gift which you are about to receive, and to keep it safe, and to keep it in your sole possession until such a time as your journey with it is finished? Yes.